Buzzfeed is a website and a film production company that was beloved years ago, and they've been slowly making changes to fall out of people's good graces. And one of them involves incorporating more and more AI. This starts out with an update they decided in January 2023, where they basically decided they want to implement more AI and ChatGPT into their writing, and they wanted to do so with their animations. So, BuzzFeed Animations has some series, one of them being Chicken Nugget. This is an animated series made by Kyra Kupetsky, who is the lead animator of BuzzFeed's Animation Lab, and it is a series that has garnered over 1 billion views on social media, which is wildly impressive, starting in its premiere in 2020. But then, unfortunately, everything came to a head March 5th with this update that came out. So this was posted by TuneHive, and it reads, Chicken Nugget creator Kyra Kupetsky announced her departure from the show after BuzzFeed made a requirement to feed the show to AI. And Kyra writes, Hi, it's Kyra, creator and voice actor of Chicken Nugget. I have some incredibly unfortunate news I'm very saddened to deliver. I will be leaving the show and no longer voicing Chicken. BuzzFeed is going to be requiring Chicken to be fed into AI for a project, and I am fully against this. It's being done despite our stance against it. It's entirely out of our control, and I'm utterly heartbroken. I am very anti AI and cannot support this. Thus, I'm leaving to boycott this. I'm so upset it's come to this, and I cannot apologize enough for this happening. And thank you enough for all of your support and to the incredible talent of the cast and crew. This is also very interesting because there was a Supreme Court situation that happened basically with a guy who was trying to get his generated AI art piece to be copyrighted, and his copyright claim basically just kept getting denied, and he tried appealing it up to the Supreme Court, and they basically were like, dude, screw off, man, I don't want to deal with it. So basically with that, it goes to show that the Supreme Court is not going to honor any copyright disputes regarding AI, and that generative AI work is not copyrightable. So this then gets very interesting as well, because if they're trying to feed this IP, Chicken Nugget, into AI, the derivative work from that, you're not going to have the copyright for that. So what would be the intention of doing so? And TuneHive adds, BuzzFeed is currently deleting Kyra Kupetsky's tweets about the situation. Deleted follow-up message. And the deleted follow-up reads, AI is not being used in any of the episodes online, nor has it ever been. So no episodes that come out after I leave include AI. We recorded scripts and animated episodes before the situation unfolded. So do not fear, episodes are AI free, and if that ever changes, you will be told. The AI is only being used in a project that none of us can talk about because of an NDA, but none of us are involved. I am leaving before this project starts. Everybody on BuzzFeed's animation team is against this. It's a situation that is out of everyone's hands. And people in the comments are basically like, dude, BuzzFeed, what the heck? And people are saying this is BS, and I respect Kyra for standing on business. And on Kyra's own page, they posted, really horrible news, incredibly saddened, but I cannot support being a part of a company using AI. I've loved working at BuzzFeed so much, and I will treasure it always, but we have to stand a stand against AI creeping into our industry. And regarding people asking for some more clarity about this, regarding like, oh, but like if you made the show, why don't you own the IP? Kyra adds, I work at BuzzFeed, so Chicken Nugget is a show I develop there, but they own it. There's a possibility they'll give me the IP in the future, but I am unsure. Me and the team have had many meetings with the higher ups to take a stand against AI, but unfortunately, they still want to go through with it. I obviously can't speak for Kyra. I don't know their contract. I don't work for BuzzFeed, but I've talked about this in other videos I've made. In instances where you work at a company, especially to create media or artworks, derivative work, whatever, a lot of times to be hired, in your contract, it will say something like any work you create on company time is owned by the company, blah, 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 blah. And you would be like, well, like, maybe that's not fair because like you made the work. That is the exchange for you getting paid a salary. In order for you to receive a salary to do work, the company has to own the work for you to get the salary. That's a lot of times how it would work if you're hired under a company. I had something like that in my contract back when I worked at my old job, because otherwise, if I were to leave the company, which I did, I do this full time now, they would have no legal right to then use the stuff that I made for them after I left. So it's not like necessarily predatory if that's in the contract, unless they start doing funky things with it, like, explicitly going against the wishes of the creator. I would say that's morally questionable. Another commenter basically asked what's going to happen. Is it going to become full on slop or something? And Kyra says, from what I understand, no. It's pre-existing episodes that are being fed to an AI program for one project. So nobody involved in the team is doing this. It is outside of their control. I also don't know if the project will ever be posted. As for the future of Chicken, I think it'll be AI free. So then, thankfully, the same day, Kyra had posted this update adding, it's me, don't worry, BuzzFeed and I are currently talking and figuring stuff out. I will update you on what happens as soon as I can. But I promise I'm still never going to use AI no matter what happens. I can't thank you guys enough for your support. And Kyra once again emphasizes that there's no AI in the episodes that are currently online and that no episodes coming out in the future will have AI. And on March 11th, there's a big update that came out. It says we did it. BuzzFeed has confirmed Chicken Nugget will not be used for the AI supported project. Thank you so much, BuzzFeed, for hearing us out and wanting the best for chicken. And thank you so unbelievably much to all of you for the massive support on this, as well as the understanding while we worked through it. I'm grateful the studio leadership heard us out and worked with us on a solution. I will be staying on Chicken Nugget at BuzzFeed to continue making the show as we intended. And Kyra adds they're so happy to share the updates and that Chicken will remain AI free. And they're happy to have all the crew safe and employed as well. It's very scary in this landscape of animation job scarcity. And another person posts this graphic, do I need AI? It's a flowchart and there's only one arrow and it points to no. Everybody is showing their support, saying how happy they are and how much they love Chicken Nugget. And Kyra finally adds, I'm so sorry for this crazy week. Definitely one of the scariest times in my career, but incredibly grateful to everybody for all the support. I think it's important to stand for what you believe in, even in your career field. So glad my crew can rest easy. Absolute kudos to Kyra for standing up for what they believe in, even at the cost of their career, right? Because they left BuzzFeed to stand up for what they believe in, which is no AI used in the animation and art process. I love that and I respect that. And it's scary to do, especially in this climate, because already the economy is not great. And like art jobs in general is scarce and hard to find. So losing your job and losing your income to stand for what you believe in is something that I find so respectable. Again, by the way, if I didn't say it before, don't send hate to any parties involved. But one thing that I do think is a bit interesting is why it took so long for BuzzFeed to listen to Kyra and everybody else on the team that was so adamantly against having Chicken Nugget fed into AI. Because, like what Kyra was saying, there were so many meetings that were held, so many attempts for them to stand up for themselves for what they believe in and to tell BuzzFeed, hey, I don't want AI used in this process. I don't want to feed this work into AI. And they literally from what it looks like, I don't know the inner workings of BuzzFeed, it looks like they just didn't care until the public backlash got big enough. This is one of those times where public pressure is good because the public pressure of everybody being against this move from BuzzFeed allowed Chicken Nugget to go back into the hands of the person it should have belonged in, Kyra, so they can continue doing what they love with the IP they created to make beloved animations. But why did it come to that? And why was Kyra's voice and the other animators and crew and cast members' voices not heard when they were trying to go and tell them, hey, I don't want this? And I think it's always one of those things where it's like, yes, sure, like what Kyra was saying, the IP is owned by BuzzFeed because that is what's in their contract. So legally, BuzzFeed has the rights to do what they want with the IP, but morally, to the creator who made this beloved series that garnered you guys 1 million views on your social media, shouldn't you listen to the person who made it? I don't know. I feel like it's also interesting because it's always like, why do these companies make these choices? Because you see time and time and time again, the public does not like it. The public is like, I don't want to see Gen AI stuff. I don't want to see this work that I love fed into Gen AI. And the companies are all like, yeah, we're going to do it anyways. Like, Coca-Cola, the beloved Christmas animation that comes around every single year. Yeah, where are the animators? They've been feeding it to AI, using AI to make it, and they've been, yeah, look at the innovations we've done. And nobody cares. Nobody wants to go watch it. We want to watch actual animations made by people. So, anyways, I'm getting a little bit heated, but I would love to hear your thoughts about the situation. And please go and check out Kyra and go and check out Chicken Nugget because so glad it went back into Kyra's hands. And if you guys like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I was just in Vancouver for 5 days. It was so cold over there. I was eating some good food. I got to hang out with my bestie and I'm back to make videos again. So sorry if some of these recent videos coming out might be a little bit later than the news. It's because I was not here for 5 days and it seemed like a lot of stuff happens. So yeah, don't forget to check me out on Etsy and Coffee. I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.